Welcome to the start of a new Let's Play for Pathfinder for Pathfinder Pinmaker. Yeah, let me try that one again. Welcome to a new Let's Play of Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now this game has been out for a while, and it even has there's even another Pathfinder game. Why are we playing Kingmaker? Well, because in my ever-continuing goal to finish games that I have not successfully finished in the past, we're going to pick this one up because I never successfully finished this one, and I'm really hoping to give it a good, proper roll. And I'm a huge fan of CRPGs in general. Played a hell of a lot of Baldur's Gate back in the day. A lot of Pillars of Eternity as well. And you know, of course, the original Fallout games fall into this category as well. And many other games. So I like to stick around normal. All right, we are in fact going to create a new character here. We're not going to use one of the presets, although they are interesting. I have made a sort of decision on what it is that I'm going to try and play as here. The look of the character doesn't actually matter that much. Mostly it's just the choice of the race, which we're going to make elf. So the character, we're making an arcane archer. If you look at the Magus, basically the Magus can like, yeah, at second level, whenever the Magus casts a spell with a range of touch, if it's on the Magus spell list, he can deliver the spell through any weapon he's wielding as part of a melee attack. So he can like dual wield like a weapon in one hand and a spell in the other, and then he can also like cast a full spell, which is then delivered through a melee through a melee strike. Now that's normally how Maguses work, but then you have Eldritch Archers, which specifically ranged spell combat. Instead of a melee weapon, an Eldritch Archer must use a ranged weapon for spell combat. She doesn't need a free hand for ranged spell combat. The Eldritch Archer cannot accept an attack penalty to gain bonus on concentration checks to cast a spell defensively. Now that's something that the Magus can do. The Magus can take an attack penalty in order to gain concentration check bonuses, in order to make sure that the Magus can successfully get their spells cast in melee combat, which is normally very difficult. At second level, whenever an Eldritch Archer casts a spell that calls for a ranged attack, you can deliver the spell through a ranged weapon she wields as part of a ranged attack, instead of the free ranged attack normally allowed to deliver the spell. An Eldritch Archer can make one free ranged attack with a ranged weapon as part of casting the spell. This does not increase the spell's range. So basically, any spell that would normally be a ranged spell that would require a ranged spell attack, the Magus can instead shoot as through an arrow through their bow. That's kind of the main thing that's going on here. So that's the goal. That's the character we're making here. And eventually what we're going to do is we're going to start mixing a couple things in here, because this is not just going to be an Eldritch Archer. The build that I've kind of got planned is going to very quickly move into Eldritch Scoundrel as the primary like spell casting component. So we're basically just going to get Eldritch Archer to level 2 just so as that we know that we can start casting spells through our bow. And once we got that, we're going to pivot to Eldritch Scoundrel and start gaining, you know, spell cast pools and lots of different abilities to combine with our spell casting and stuff like that. That's really the main goal. And eventually I think we're going to move into something like Eldritch Knight down here, which is a class. It's a what do they call these? I forget what they call these. Like a prestige. It's a prestige class. So this is going to be the build that we're working with here. So let's go into Magus. Let's go into Eldritch Archer. Next. Skills. So obviously dexterity, top importance. Probably going to start with an 18. Now, skills, normally, if this were like a character that I was going to build like for an actual tabletop game, I would probably not care too much about intelligence. Leaving it at 12 would probably be fine. The thing is that as the main character in a CRPG, this character is the only one that can do, well, is going to be very heavily involved in skill checks all the time. It's the only character that's going to be in our group all the time. As a result, having high skills is actually kind of important. So we're going to need a pretty decent int modifier here. Con is, of course, very important because that's how we, don't die to, just being hit randomly, because we are still going to get hit. It is still going to be a thing that's going to happen to us pretty regularly, is we are going to get hit. So let's see, I have 13 more points to spend. Let's put them in, let's put at least a couple in tier. In terms of all the character intelligence, they lose consciousness. Like the number of skill points gained at each level, knowledge and lore skill checks. Yeah. Strength is athletics and strength checks, damage rolls while using a melee weapon or thrown weapon. Now, I'm trying to remember, because I know that D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, includes like composite ranged weapons, where the idea is that the stronger you are, you can add a damage bonus to it. But I think that only counts if it's better than your deck, so I don't think it really matters much. I am strength penalty, but not a bonus, applies to attacks made with a bow, unless it's a composite bow, right? It does say there. I am going to increase the strength by 1 point to 11, just because, or sorry, to 12, just because athletics is very important. You're going to do a fair number of those checks throughout the game. And then on top of that, I think the main thing I want to do is, yeah, it's also for, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to do con, charisma. Can I do con? No, I can only put con up to that. That'll be fine, and then I can sink 2 points into wisdom to make it +1. That's a pretty middling build, but dex is really our only like primary important. Really is our main thing of primary importance. Having everything else just be a +1, with intelligence being a +2 and constitution able to get there soon, is probably good enough. +1 to our wisdom saving throws, +1 to our will saves, +1 to our constitution saves or fortitude saves is going to be important. Having 2 more skills is important. The charisma +1 is going to be important for persuasion checks, which we're going to want to do. So that's the idea here. Next up, skills. So I now have 3 points to stick into my skills. So I'm going to do persuasion for sure. Now you might wonder why this goes from +1 to +5. It's because anytime you train a skill in Pathfinder, it gets just a +3. The first time you train a skill. So a skill that you have not put any points into it doesn't get a benefit, but the first time you put any points into it, it gets a +3. That's pretty much all that is. We're also going to do athletics. And I think, what was mobility again? There was a, yeah, it is. Represents a character's talent for balanced coordination. Your character's mobility skill allows you to move near opponents without provoking attacks of opportunity. Yeah, so anytime you try and move around in combat and not provoke attacks of opportunity, that's mobility. So we're actually going to take one of those as well. Okay. Now, we won't need to put many points into mobility because we probably shouldn't be using it that often, but I do want to put 1 point in it. So now we have feats. Well, the really important thing is point blank shot. The second thing we're going to get is this one that I was finding down here, which is precise shot, which is like super duper top tier, like of particularly great importance. Because in this game, in Pathfinder, anytime two people are fighting each other in melee, where you have a person and then another person they're engaged with in melee. If you want to hit one of them with your bow, with a ranged weapon in general, you have to take a -4 penalty on that attack unless you have this precise shot. So never mind, we're taking point blank shot. Now I get to pick some spells. This is where it starts to get really interesting. Because again, I can... So if I look back at my abilities here, you see that I have, you know, mega spells, cantrips, detect magic. So instead of a melee weapon, Eldritch Armor uses a ranged weapon for spell combat. Doesn't need a free hand. For ranged spell combat, Eldritch Archer cannot accept an attack penalty to cast defensively. I'll go back into class. Hold on. Is this normally called spell combat? Yes, it is. Functions such like the offhand is a spell being cast. Use this ability. The mega. I think this actually means that I get two. I want to make sure that didn't change anything. I think this actually means that I get 2 things per turn. So I want to take ranged spells. Range damage spells. Things like corrosive touch. No, that's a touch attack. So magic missile probably counts. Snowball definitely counts. We're going to take Snowball. I'm going to take Magic Missile. And then I'm going to do things like Enlarge Person, because we're going to be still hitting things with our arrows. So, like, actually making ourselves bigger is awesome. That's for melee strikes. It's invisible for a short time. This would be like a get out of jail free card. So we'll take one of those. And then something like... Creates a burst of light. Yeah. Take Flare Burst. So we've got Snowball and Magic Missile as our sort of ranged combat spells, which we will be able to cast through our bow while, you know. Now we get to pick our voice.
We will be victorious. I'll go ahead.
Spell's not working like that.
A solid plan. Let us bide our time. Enemy near.
Forwards! Time's not waiting. I didn't even...
I do like the pragmatic voice, I think.
Combat is adjourned.
Someone else would make better use of this.
This is my path.
You're done for. We cannot be defeated.
Or that one.
We will be victorious.
I don't know, I'm going to take pragmatic. The birth date is going to be my birth date, which is going to be 5/1. D's Nuts 1. The first of D's Nuts. Let's see. Names, of course, going to be Tannis Fujet. We are, as usual, neutral good.
This will...
Alright, so this is our character sheet. We've got an 18 dexterity and a 14 int, which is going to be good for getting our skills where we need them. We have a +4 on ranged attacks, which is actually, that's just our base bonus. We actually get a +5, so one more plus on anything that's within 30 feet of us. So it's going to be a pretty good chance of hitting things especially in the very early game. On top of that, I've also spent that pool of resources to get my weapon to be a +1 early on. So I'm actually going to have a +6 for most of my attacks throughout the early game. All right. When in doubt, save. Good advice for all CRPGs. Here we go. We're going to start the actual game now. We have our character. You're an Elven Eldritch Archer.
Our story started at the mansion of an Aldori sword lord. Drawn by the promise of a most dangerous task.
That looks like it's not going through very well. Can you hear it? Can you hear the story?
Heroes of all stripes gathered here.
That looked like it was not going through. Okay, hold on. I bumped it up a lot. This might, hope it doesn't blow anything out.
Where are they? This is taking forever. It didn't even say what this was for, just that the Aldori were looking for heroes. Who are the Aldori anyway, rich folk?
If you can't be patient, no one's keeping you here. Just go back to your mountains or whatever hole you crawled out of. The Aldori Sword Lords run the premier school for the dueling arts. They're also the richest and most influential group in this part of Brevoy.
Yeah, I'll have to
Take
touch that.
phone with them, and they'll teach you
And touch up the audio.
quickly.
All right, you purple toad, just shut your trap. And if you can't, I'll help you.
Amiri's awesome.
Hush! Quiet! They're coming.
As soon as I get control of my character, I'll be tweaking the audio.
Greetings, everyone. I am Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori, and this is Lord Mayor Yosef Selimius of Restov. Welcome to my mansion.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for responding to our call. You may be few, but that's unavoidable. We need only the best of the best for this task. And I see true heroes before me, strong and fearless, exactly what Restov needs.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Now, to the point. South of here, just beyond Brevoy's border, lies a region known as the Stolen Lands. This is disputed territory, and while it's long been claimed by nearby states, it's never been truly taken. I won't bore you with the legal technicalities. Suffice to say that anyone with enough courage and power to seize the Stolen Lands and name themselves Baron or Baroness, claiming dominion, well, none of the neighboring states would be able to challenge it. Of course, Restov would be first to recognize the legitimacy of this new state, as well as the noble title of its founder.
I do really like this, start here, which is the idea that, basically there's a plot of land that for a long time has been disputed by lots of different groups, and so no one group is able to have the sort of political leeway to just take hold of it. So if an enterprising individual just showed up in the area and made themselves, made a name for themselves and said that they were in charge, any one group would really be able to officially challenge them on it. And there's even the opportunity here that Restov would actually just say, you know what, you've got it. Now we're going to learn that why they're willing to just say that in a second here, of course.
Unfortunately, one serious obstacle stands between you and this title. A gang of bandits holds sway in the Stolen Lands. Their chief, who they call the Stag Lord, considers himself the rightful owner of these lands, and no one has yet been able to challenge his power. Bring me his head, and you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands as their legal ruler. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a few questions about that. So first of all, there's a whole team of us here. It looks like there's about 20 of us standing here. Which one of us exactly is going to get that title? There can only be one Baron.
I will, of course. I'm the leader of this team, after all. Don't worry, though. I'll make it worth your while to help me.
Okay.
We haven't yet begun, and you already speak of divvying rewards. What makes you think we'll even succeed? There's little point arguing over who gains the title when we'll most likely lose our lives there.
Well, we have a Debbie Downer in the group.
If I may please answer the question. We believe you're all equally deserving of a noble title. Over the course of your expedition, it will be up to you as a team to decide which of you is best suited to rule.
That's an incredible cop-out. But I guess we'll have to deal with it. So, alright, so there's already an enterprising young person hanging out over there claiming that they rule the place. What's going to make us any different than them? Why aren't they just the Baron?
That's a good point. As I see it, this Stag Lord already holds power over the region with confidence. Many noble bloodlines were started by bandits who just got lucky, weren't they?
Perhaps because we do have standards to maintain. This room has seen many celebrations of adventurers, and even those who just got lucky. But giving a noble title to a bandit lord? That's one thing that's never happened here, and it won't while I still breathe.
Alright, that seems a little judgmental, but at least, there's a difference between us and them. So basically, they're just going to help us found this barony, and why exactly does Restov and the Eldori care?
Don't ask stupid questions. Why should you even care? What they have to gain and why, that's for Lady Eldori and I to discuss. It's none of your concern. Your only concern is to swing your sword around, or whatever it is you do.
It's pretty obvious that I have a bow on my back, and I don't swing a sword at all, but you know what? That's fine.
Of course, we stand to benefit from this enterprise. But if you're concerned that we intend to rule your country from afar, using you as a front, well, please know that these concerns are unfounded. Let's just say that we have a strong interest in the region's stability. We have need of a ruling power we can negotiate with, not bandit gangs and monster hordes.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredibly suspicious, right? Like, you're basically saying, like, of course you're going to be in a great position to just be a puppet to the greater nations near you, but don't worry, it just won't happen. It's just going to be so much easier for us to, leave you there as somebody worth negotiating with instead of taking you over. That seems incredibly unlikely.
What is that smell in the air? Is it the smell of unspoken words and political intrigue?
Yeah, it would be a tiefling to be the first one to just fail to buy in to somebody's political machinations. That seems fair. So what exactly are the rewards that we're getting out of all this?
And what reward would you seek beyond a noble title and your own lands?
I don't know. Gold? Running a land is expensive.
We'll absorb the costs of preparing and equipping your expeditions. Once you return victorious, Restov will also allocate you a significant sum to provide financial support for you to establish your country. Essentially, we'll help you build your capital. I hope such a reward is satisfactory.
Very nice. That is much more along the lines of what I was talking about.
Words, words, words. Significant, financial. I can't fill my belly with pretty words.
She's a little bit brutish, but she has a point.
Of course. There will also be an official banquet held in your honor. All of Rostov's high society will gather to celebrate your feat.
Now you're talking.
All right, well, I guess it's about as clear as mud, but, it's enough for us to get started with.
Excellent. You venture forth tomorrow. For now, you can take some time to get to know one another better. Or you can head straight to your guest rooms to get some rest. You'll find we've already prepared supplies for you there. And thank you again for agreeing to take part in this expedition. I wish you luck.
Thank you again, with all my heart, for replying to this call. The flare in your eyes reveals your courage, the unshakable will that distinguishes true heroes. I look at you, O champions of Restov, and doubt not for a second that you'll be victorious. So venture forth toward your feet. Go, and return in triumph.
All right. Well, the initial job is simple enough.
Hi, my name's Lindsay. I'm a bard, though this is my first real adventure. So, shall we go teach this stag lord a lesson?
Now, to pull back the curtain a little bit, when I very first played this game, I had an experience that I think a shocking number of people have had, because I'm not the only one that even I know who's had this experience, which is when they first booted up the game, they somehow worked themselves into creating a bard character. And once created a bard, they immediately ran into their first NPC who says that she's a bard, and immediately decided that that's not going to stand, and reset the game and started over with a new character. I am not the only one to whom that has happened. But anyway, we have Lindsay. Lindsay's a bard. Yeah, we will. Just wait. We've got plenty of great feats in store.
I have no doubt. Kind of related, I wanted to ask you something. How do you feel about this Tartuccio fellow? I think he's pretty obnoxious personally. He appointed himself head of the team, and he's just after the Baron's crown, or whatever it is Barons wear. Doesn't matter. I don't like him. I think you should be team leader. When I first saw you, I couldn't help but think, now here's a real hero. Someone who'll be praised in poems and songs. This is the person I'll write my book about.
Well, it's a bit main character syndrome-y, but it is nice to know that somebody has my back already. Except she's writing a book.
Damn, I should have led with that. Please, just let me explain. You know what the trouble with most heroes' biographies is? They're always written years later, based on the tales of, best case, people who saw things from the outside. Worst case, someone heard about it from their brother, who heard it from their friend, who heard it from their cousin, and so on, adding a new batch of lies each time. Every time I read about a heroic journey, I think to myself, why didn't they just bring a bard with them to write it all down properly?
That does make some sense.
And then I thought, I could be that bard. I just needed to find a suitable hero and volunteer to follow along on their glorious adventure. A great plan, huh? And here we are, with a heroic journey lying before us. Who's going to be the hero? Some dwarf who keeps muttering about how we'll all die? Or maybe that horrific scythe lady? Or, God's forbid, Tartuccio? No way.
Well, what about the barbarian? She's got a big freaking sword. She's got a sword bigger than we are.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic. You can tell she could tear a bear's head off with her bare hands, but she kind of scares me just a little. But, I mean, her sword's twice as big as I am. She could cut me down without even noticing. Just think on it a bit, all right? I'm sure you'll agree. All right, I'm going to my room to write about tonight. See you in the morning.
Well, all right then. Moment here, we're actually going to go into the options menu. First steps on the road to glory. That's the star quest marker that's popped up. Let's see, sound. That'll do it. Okay. Just a moment. Let me put all my inboard sliders back where they belong so that we can go ahead and why are you clicking along? Hey, stop moving on your own. I'm just taking a look at the levels here as I sort of play around with this stuff. All right, we should have decent audio now. So yeah, the movement in this game is pretty standard. CRPG fare. Click on the ground. I go there. Let's talk to Amiri real quick. Oh, idle talk's over. Can't wait to set out. Okay, she actually does not have anything to say. The Aldori guy. Get some rest. Double the guard for the night. How about Jathal? So it looks like there really isn't anybody here that actually wants to talk. So now that we've, let's see. Where was the... I don't actually remember. Can I leave out the front this way? Oh. Northern architecture is beautiful but very heavy. In my native land of Kadira, palaces are furnished quite differently. Alright, so we have an adventure planned ahead of us. Okay. Lindsay bursts into my room. She's scared. Her face is smeared with soot and she holds a weapon. What's going on out there?
The mansion's under attack. We need to help. Some villains broke in and started killing everyone. I barely made it. Hurry, we have to help the guards fight off the attackers or we'll all be cut down one by one.
Okay. There's a scream from the hallway. Oh, Lindsay's very brave. She's running right back out there. Nope, except she didn't leave me alone long enough. Alright. Oh. Okay. So this is a bit annoying. That from moment one we're going to be starting with this, but we're one-on-one and we're an archer, so we're already going to be shooting into melee, so this could be a little bit rough.
This should do it.
Didn't matter. He actually had an attack of he made an attack of opportunity against me that he failed. So he's carrying a dagger and a chain shirt. We're going to take all of them. There was one thing I want to double check though real quick, because I thought I remembered something. Like any arcane spellcaster, a magus wearing medium armor, heavy armor, or shield incurs a chance of arcane spell failure. Can cast magus spells while wearing light armor without incurring the normal arcane spell failure chance. So I can wear light armor just fine without any problems. And actually, I am already wearing light armor. This one is also light armor. It's four armor class, so it's higher. But it does have a -1 armor check penalty associated with it. We're going to equip that just for now. Follow me quickly. I'm gonna double back the other direction if you don't mind, just to... Oh, you're dead. Nice. Looting our first chest. Believe... Yeah, if I hold tab, you can actually see anything that's interactable lights up. Anything in view. So I can always see what it is that... If there's anything that's, like, can be picked up by me. Got somebody we have to help.
We will be victorious.
Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna see. The first thing I want to do is I want to look at my list of spells, my cantrips. I've got flare. Yeah, I think acid splash or ray of frost. Game could stand to be a little louder. All right. I'm gonna set that to autocast. Okay, so I hit him with that, but I thought I was also supposed to be able to... Ah, yes, and I get an arrow shot in the same turn. So yeah, I'm basically dual wielding my bow and a ranged spell, which is kind of ridiculous. Dual wielding like ranged attacks. Options. Found. There we go. Should be quite. It should be noticeably louder now. So that was, yeah, that was my full round action. I have some swift actions I could do, but I don't have anything to do, so I have to end my turn, which is this button. Nope, that's turn-based mode. End turn. Lindsay, who's not currently under my control, makes an attack. She failed. She got a nat 1. Missing. My opponents are going to get some attacks of opportunity against me. Nice, but that one is dead. I will take a 5-foot step, which will separate me from combat, and we will end our turn.
You're just in time. A bit longer and I'd have been... Whew, I don't even want to think about it. Can you imagine what a terrible loss this would have been? But it's all right now. I'm safe, sound, and unscathed, ready to lead you to victory.
Yeah, I don't know about that, bud.
Lady Jamandi's holding the line in the banquet hall. You know, the one where she had us gathered before. We need to make our way to her. And along the way, we'll try to save some of these dummies who are supposed to accompany us to the stolen lands.
Yeah, like we had to save you.
Speaking of dummies, take this ring. Quiet now, so that little fool doesn't hear us. She might try to steal it herself. It's magical. It'll protect you. You'll need it while you work to defend me.
Okay, so he's given me an item, a magic ring. Alright, so these assassins just have daggers, so we're going to go ahead and take them. Now, if I look at these guys... Yeah, I have this ring. +1 to armor class, so we're going to go ahead and put that on. Actually, well, we'll put it on me for the time being. Right now... Everyone here is actually ranged, which is kind of funny. But yeah, everyone here currently is ranged combatant. I don't have a melee fighter yet. Some gold, copper ring. I feel like audio, particularly dialogue, could be louder. My comp is all the way up, and I'm still not hearing the game well. All right, let me. There are still ways to fix this. Hold on. Let me know if that's any better. Oh, bad guys. Alright. Well, if I just click on them, it should actually start...
Our victory is certain.
Like a surprise round of combat, yeah. So everybody got a couple of shots off.
Let's try this way. This should do it.
And I don't... Is it not a full... Let me walk off to the side here. In that turn. Now everyone is like fully on my side. So Lindsay is a bard, is a spellcaster. She has access to some cantrips. Light, resistance, daze, touch of fatigue, and flare. And she also has access to cure light wounds and ear-piercing scream. She can also inspire courage. So, first level bard can use their performance to inspire courage in their allies, including themselves, bolstering them against fear and improving their combat abilities. To be affected, an ally must be able to perceive the bard's performance. An affected ally receives +1 morale bonus on saving throws against charm and fear effects, +1 competence bonus on attack and weapon damage rolls. And it has a certain number of like turns. You see up here on the top right of the icon, it says 13. Means it'll last 13 turns. So right now, though, I think I'm just gonna have her shoot this guy.
Serves you right.
Nice, and he's dead. We're gonna end her turn. Tuccio. We're actually gonna select acid splash. You're gonna take a step this way, which is gonna just be part of your 5-foot step here. Oh, you have to move forward as well. You can't quite get there with that, huh? Actually, just out of range of that. But actually, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you cast Magic Missile. There we go. And end that turn. Alright, now it's my turn up again. Yeah, so I have to move. So I can't make a full round action on this turn.
A calculated risk.
At least I don't think I can. Yeah, I can't make a full round action. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and end the turn there with that hit. Lindsay is just gonna shoot with her bow.
You deserved it.
There, let's go. And you're gonna use. Yeah, you're gonna step forward and use acid splash. Oh, gross. You got evaporated. Gonna take a shot. He hit Lindsay for 1 damage. She had 11 health, she now has 10. Not a big deal. But again, with this, I think
Let's try.
yeah, I just have to make. We're gonna make an attack here. 4 damage. And we'll make a move action into the room here, and then we're gonna pass turn. Lindsay's just gonna take a shot.
Last wishes.
Hit. Pass. You're gonna cast the spell again. Got him. Alright. With their corpses. They've got healing potions, light and moderate wound healing potions, padded armor, short bows, and daggers. Expect all of that. Let's actually double back, go this way. Oh, he's got incense and gold coins. A little bit of loot. Bookshelf. The Curse of Ancient Obaria. A book. An old map. And some gold. This is some random loot items to pick up. Good thing I've decided to double back. Now, do I have anybody that can actually pick this lock? It's actually barred from the other side. It's not even locked. Alright, keep moving. Alright, doors. Oh, this one's open. Dead people. Ah, medium armor. It's hide armor. And a mace. Another bookshelf, some ink and some gold coins, and a corpse. Pathetic, they couldn't even defend themselves. They thought they could conquer the stolen lands, said Bertuccio. Bertuccio's a bit of a jerk, that's for sure. A silver ring and some coins. We will definitely take those. Storeroom of some kind. Big workbench with some butter, fowl, edible moss, and a cooking almanac of the inner sea. Another book. Barrel of fish. There's a kitty running around here. Trout. Kitty, kitty. Alright, nothing else here. Alright, into the big doors. Hey, look who it is. It's our barbarian friend.
It's the end for you rats!
Go ahead and join this fight. Lindsay, go here with your move. And then you're going to just shoot this guy.
This is where I step in.
Good shot. Next. Ow. You're gonna have to move to like here, go stand next to Lindsay. Only 1 damage. Turn. Miss. I get to move into the building, into the room this way. And we're gonna shoot at this guy. Nice. Dead as dead gets. And now she's gonna swing. And he's just dead in 1.
Oh, it's you. Stay up from under my feet or I'll strike you down. Blood for Gorum!
Oh, she's not gonna stick around.
Barbarians.
I think that's exactly how heroes should be.
Damn right, Lindsay. Big
What,
damn
stupid,
heroes.
sweaty, and always looking for something to gobble up or lop the head off of? Calistria, save me from such heroes.
Big damn heroes. Daggers and another potion. We're gonna keep moving. Oh. Drop your weapons and we'll spare your lives. So generous. I'm afraid I can't offer you the same courtesy. Hey, you ugly mug, get them. What in hell's name is that? Okay. Rip. Get frozen, idiots. My combat log identifies that as a frost giant. Cure wounds. Yeah, the guards got wrecked. Spears, swords, a potion of enlarged person, a shield. I'm now heavily encumbered. Thankfully, my movement speed does not. This is where they clearly went, but they collapsed the archway behind them. We gotta go this way. Gate is locked down. Ah, we have to make a dexterity check to get over this.
It is finished.
Which we succeeded, and we gained a little bit of experience for it. And then there were assassins here, so we're gonna actually pause. So now I'm gonna make use of the fact that, like, I can see them, but they can't see me. And I'm going to assign... everyone to do some things.
Time to get my hands dirty again.
Enemy approaching.
Okay, so I got my shot off. Yeah, I don't think that effect actually went off. The daze. I think it got resisted successfully. So they would have had a turn, but they were in fact surprised. So they are not. They're caught flat-footed, so they are not involved in that round of combat. And you just take a shot. Nice, 1 damage. I get to, yeah, I'm gonna throw, oh sorry, that's Tartuccio, it's not me. Alright, that's combat done. If you see your opponents before they see you, you can do stuff like that. Short bow. Moving. Armory, I'm sure Jamandi wouldn't mind if we borrowed some weapons.
Applause, please.
Lindsay picked the lock for me.
All according to plan.
All according to Keikaku. Heavy armor. Nobody in this group can use so far. A masterwork light mace and a composite longbow. Now I'm actually going to use that composite longbow. Yeah, I'm wielding a normal longbow right now. So if I were to swap this out, yeah, I deal 1 more damage with a composite, or 1 more damage on average in the composite longbow. Because my strength is above 10. Breastplate. Key. Very important. Tower shield, which we can't really use.
What have we here? This chest is full of gold. I guess it's for the guards' salaries, all things considered. Well, those freeloaders don't seem to have been working too hard for it. Maybe we should pocket it instead.
Well, that sounds terrible.
What? No, we're heroes, not thieves.
Who said we were stealing it? We'll just take the gold for safety so the assassins don't get it. And then we can heroically return it to Jamandi when this is all over.
You know, gold is important, but the Aldari Sword Lords are not exactly known for mercy. So I don't think that'll work well for us.
How would she know it was us and not the assassins? Unless someone planned on telling her.
Don't drag me into this. You do what you want, but I'm not taking a single coin.
I'm gonna say probably we're not gonna do that. Not exactly gonna start things off by stealing from probably the most powerful person we've met so far.
Oh, familiar faces.
Oh hey, it's the elf.
I hope you're not so frightened as to swing at every shadow. It's me, Jaethal. I don't recommend advancing down the hallway, assuming you value your life, of course. There were a few people with me, and you can see what happened to them.
Well, I can see they're dead.
And just how did they all end up dead while you don't seem to have a scratch?
I'll answer but briefly and just once. Further scares and explanations will wait until we aren't being hunted by a group of assassins. Deal? All right. I'm undead. These traps are deadly to the living, but they're harmless to me.
Interesting. Taking a number of gold off of bookshelves already. Well, look, that's different. This is like earmarked stuff, and even though we don't technically know that it's actually earmarked in the way that it said, we can assume that, you know, they're probably right.
What do you mean undead? Really? Like zombies or skeletons or...
As I said, further explanations will wait until later. All you need to know right now is that we're on the same side, and we have to fight off a small army of hired assassins. Let's get to it.
Okay. If you say so. Alright, so we now have a trap-filled hallway that we have to worry about. So, I mean, if the traps that are on the ground here don't affect you, why don't we just send you through them?
That is not far.
I am curious as to her statement that that these don't affect her.
How curious.
Okay. Yeah, that's, I mean, certainly did not seem to affect her.
What a surprise.
Sure. Well, good for her. Oh. Alright. What's the, A, Control A? Control A, aha. Oop, chest. Chainmail. And a fauchard. Some sort of pole arm. So now if I were to look at Jaethal, here in my inventory here, you can see that she's actually already wearing chainmail. So she has, so didn't I pick up like some other medium armor? Yeah, breastplate is actually just like this, but better, huh? Yeah, breastplate's just straight up better than the chainmail. Same 6 armor class, but only a 4 armor check penalty. And allows for 3 max dexterity. definitely going to equip that on her. And because you are actually the first melee fighter we've had, you are going to take the... Oh, apparently not. Cannot be equipped to this character. Okay, never mind. Oh, that's not the way it works anyway. Okay. All right, keep moving. Another dead person. Oh, some scrolls. Scroll of Shield of Faith and Scroll of Bless. Now, who can actually cast those? I can't. Lindsay can. Lindsay currently has a Scroll of Cure Moderate Wounds and a Scroll of Cure Light Wounds. We're going to give her a Scroll of Bless. And you know what? We're actually going to give you the Scroll of Shield of Faith. Oh yeah, okay, cool. Did exactly that. Awesome. All right. Big door. What's going on up here? Telling you, Jamandi's cache has to be here somewhere. Hurry up before... Stop, someone's coming.
You cannot stand against me.
All right. Not particularly great rolls there. I should be able to get a full turn. Oh, you don't have... Shoot. Unset your... You're also too far away for that. Okay. And that turn, Bertuccio is, I mean, yeah, just step forward and hit the guy. Wow, a whiff, big whiff. Okay, are you going to be able to get, yep. Oh, hit me for 2. Big club coming in. Whack Lindsay for 1. It's Lindsay's turn. Can you take a 5-foot step and not like... Yeah, like that. You hit the guy?
You deserved it.
Ah, miss anyway. Alright, so you have Divine Favor, which gives you +1 luck bonuses on attack and weapon damage rolls for 1 minute. This is Inflict Light Wounds. This judgment spurs the Inquisitor to seek justice, granting a +1 sacred bonus on all attack rolls. This bonus increases by +1 for every 5 Inquisitor levels she possesses. At 10th level, the bonus is doubled. Getting +1 on all attack rolls. How long does that last? Why not? By the way, protected aura 1 to every armor class.
Unworthy.
Got him. Alright, I am going to take a 5-foot step. Way.
This should do it.
Boom. And then with the bow. Nice. What is that he said about a cache? Curious. Cache, huh? Or just oh. Okay. Silver disc and some coins. A rusty horseshoe and some coins. Okay, and there's some Interesting. Bunch of statues. Uh-huh. Hmm.
Request.
Move just one person at a time for now. Yeah.
Share your will.
Any of these change one of the ones of it. Aha! Interesting.
I am prepared.
Oof. What does this change? It changes you, you, and you. This changes you and you. This one changes. Oh, no, no, no. You stay there.
Ask.
This one just changes. And that one. Oh, okay. Hold on. I think I need each one of them to have their swords up, would be my guess. Or maybe swords down. Maybe they all need to have their swords down.
Focus on the goal.
Damn.
Time's not waiting.
Not that one. Yeah. Oh no. This one.
State your desire.
Why do you gotta move too? It's so frustrating. Ah, I hate these kind of puzzles in these games.
Speak.
Wait, hold on. That moves the one in the end. That's not what I'm looking for. And then this one moves... Nope, that's wrong too. And...
You have my attention.
Aha! Got there. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. Silver chain, gold coins, agate, potion of remove blindness. Nice. Figured out the puzzle. Oh, courtyard.
Scared? You should be.
All right. Take a 5-foot step in this direction and shot. Nice, done. Lindsay, take a 5-foot step that way. I don't know if she can see. Yep, she can.
Wishes?
Shot. Next. Tucho is gonna go that way. Nice, one down. Faithful. Actually just gonna use her full move to get there. Okay.
This will hurt.
Let's
try this way.
Nice. 5-foot step over here, please.
This is where I step in.
Oh, miss. Oh, it's the tiefling from earlier. Testing Fire Blast. Oh, no. Didn't specify the 5-foot step. This way.
Out of my way!
Nice. And you. Well, you can close to melee range, but you can't actually hit him.
Despicable.
Oh, miss.
Serves you right.
Ah, miss again. Oh. Your power, Fire Blast, and you're dead. Get burned.
Everything is so much fun with a little fire. What a night, huh? I thought I was all alone. It's good you're here. A bit boring, chasing fool assassins without anyone watching the show.
It's not fun at all. Many people have died for nothing.
Ah, I passed a knowledge world check, so I identified her accent as she's a Kelishite.
Of course. I'm from Kadira. But tales of hot deserts and shady oases can wait until the fighting's finished. But if you'd like to share a dinner and pleasant conversation, just say the word. I like making new friends.
Speaking of making friends, I don't think we properly met.
I am Kayesi, one of the many here who seek a better fate, answering the call of Lady Jamandi. But unlike the others, I never dropped my guard, day or night. It's why I'm still alive.
Well, let's not drop our guard now. The assassins are still around. Let's go.
I don't know where you're heading, but I'll be at the entrance to the main hall. I think I saw some guards there. Join me there, if you wish.
All right. All right. So this is, I believe.
I can sense your silhouette hovering over me. It won't be much longer. Soon we shall meet, O Lord of Oblivion.
So it looks like we've got, this is the same character that in the opening was saying how we're definitely just going to die out there, and is now laying on the ground, calling out, saying that he is definitely about to die. Except it does not look like he's actually all that injured. We're going to make a diplomacy roll. Aren't you being a bit premature? You've barely got a scratch.
That's impossible. Oh, it seems you might be right. It seems I will live. I suppose I must postpone meeting my god. Not for long, I'm sure. But while we remain in this transient world, Arim is at your service.
Arim. Alright, and we have another character. Arim can cast Bless. Can cast True Strike. And either one... Okay, so he's a cleric then, because he can immediately turn any of these spells into Cure Light Wounds. Channels positive energy, causing a burst that heals all living creatures in a 30-foot radius, centered on the cleric. It's equal to 1d6 points of damage, plus 1d6 points of damage for each 2 cleric levels beyond the first. Then he has Touch of Chaos. You can imbue a target with Chaos as a melee touch attack. For the next round, anytime the target rolls a d20, they must roll it twice, and they will take the less favorable result. So they have, like... opposite, like they have like anti-advantage. So for one round they have like anti-advantage. And then he has Destructive Smite. You gain the supernatural ability to make a melee attack with a morale boost on damage rolls equal to 1/2 your level in the class that gave you access to this domain. So that's his destruction ability. So he can make melee attacks, and he gains basically half his class rounded up, half his class level rounded up in damage when he hits. So he hits hard in melee, or kind of. Okay. Nothing really this way. What a nice little atrium area they've got here.
As it should be.
Casey made it here. Let's see if there's anything over this way. No, nothing. We are now up to 5 members in our team. And we finally have a couple melee fighters.
You, run and get an axe. You, bring more water. You, stay here and hold our defense. Those assassins are still around here somewhere. Aha! Some of our guests survived. Good. You need to get to the banquet hall and help Lady Jamandi.
But who exactly are you?
Keston, House Gares, a fighter in the service of Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori. Right now, I'm in charge of the mansion guards. As you can see, there's a lot to do.
If I were a rich and influential lady like Jamandi, I'd also give myself a manly captain of the guard. Or 2.
And what's going on in here?
Someone opened the gate, let in a group of assassins in the middle of the night. Now they've set the mansion on fire to cut off access to the hall. They don't want Lady Jamandi to get reinforcements. We cleared the passage so you can get through. Just try to avoid inhaling the smoke. We'll be right behind you. We just need to put out the fire first to save the mansion.
Considering Lady Jamandi's fame, I'm not surprised that a whole pack of assassins were unleashed on her, including a giant. But what's at stake? What could anyone hope to gain?
That's a great question for some time that is not now. Do you need any help putting out the fire before we go?
No, we'll manage. I've got my best people here, those who still live. Your place is by Lady Aldori's side.
It doesn't seem right. What if some of the guards are wounded? We need to help them.
It's a great point, but we'll leave the commander in charge of his troops. Where's the hall? Where are we headed?
You'll have to run through the fire. We've almost put it out at the entrance, so your main concern should be to not inhale any smoke. Hold your breath and take the first right, then head straight down the hallway.
All right, we're going now.
Fire doesn't frighten me, thanks to hell's blood running in my veins. I'll go ahead and wait for you on the other side. Catch up!
Oh, that's a nice feat. Wish we all could do that.
May Abadar keep you safe.
Abadar, the god of cities, law, merchant, and wealth. The god of walls and ditches. Patient deity, strong neutral stance. Expand civilization and order. Alright. Through the fire and the flames we carry on. I guess I just... Okay. And so our adventure started, earlier and much more tragic than we'd expected. The whole team who'd gathered in the hall yesterday had been reduced to but a handful of brave souls, led by Tennis Fugit, and not at all by that scoundrel Tartuccio, no matter what he might have imagined of himself. Jamandi Aldori was waiting for us, but to get to her, we'd have to march through fire. Literally. As we approached the burning building, we... got three choices here. Drench ourselves with buckets of water. Sounds smart. Prudence is the key to victory. Before moving through the fire, we thoroughly wet our clothes and hair. After that, let's try and find a more less dangerous passage. Last, there was no safe passage. The villains who'd attacked the mansion knew what they were doing. The only path to the banquet hall led straight through the fire, which keeps spreading despite the guards' best efforts. We covered our noses and mouths before we rushed inside. We shouldn't have wasted our time looking for another path. While we did, the fire caused extensive damage to the mansion. As soon as we entered, we heard a horrible creaking sound. The flaming walls next to us quickly slanted, threatening to fall on our head. With no time to think, we can make some rolls here. So a reflex saving throw, which would be helmed by Lindsay with the highest reflex. We darted away from the walls, attempting to avoid the flaming debris. We can make a mobility roll. We ran forward, hoping to make it under the wall before everything came crashing down, or we can make an athletics check. One of us pressed up against the wall, trying to hold it up just a bit longer. Well, I mean, the +6 in reflex against an 11 roll is probably the best bet. We succeeded at the roll. I don't know what saved us that day. Maybe the gods, or luck, or just our own dexterity, but the flaming logs and red-hot bricks didn't hit any of us. The way back was blocked, but we weren't turning back anyway, so we only had one way to go. Need some experience for that. The hot air burned our lungs and our eyes watered from the smoke, but Tanis led us stubbornly through the flames, while Tartuccio did nothing useful at all. We'd made it to the hallway leading to the banquet hall when we heard someone calling for us. It was Valerie, one of the guards I'd chatted with a bit in the banquet hall. Even then, in that calm setting, I'd been stunned by her beauty, but now, amid the smoke and flames, she looked like a celestial avenger. An armored deity, menacing but beautiful and merciful, descending from the higher spheres to help us poor mortals. She held a burned, barely living guard in her arms. "There are two more," she shouted as she passed by us. "They're wounded. Help me pull them out." Tartuccio grumbled something about how Jamandi was waiting for us. Meanwhile, Tanis can make either an athletics throw against 13 to save the guard from the fire, or with the help of Tartuccio, with his +9 diplomacy, we can make a diplomacy roll to shout to Valerie that she should join them to help Jamandi Aldori instead. Well, that's just the easier roll. We succeeded at it. She hesitated. For this valiant warrior, two things came above all else: loyalty to her pledge and duty to her comrades in arms. Now she had to choose one over the other. Tanis showed exceptional eloquence. No easy thing with the flames roaring all around. With a heavy sigh, she stopped arguing and followed us to the dome of the banquet hall, where the battle was already in full swing. And even more experience. She was supposed to wait for us here. Good question. I do not see her. Now we have Valerie. Well, we now got a full team of 6. Reinforcements are already on the way. Say our prayers, scum. We should join this fight. Oof. Well, Jamandi Aldori certainly didn't take that long. Miss. Alright, Lindsay is... She's gonna take a... cast ear-piercing scream on this guy. Nice. He failed his roll. And then she's gonna move like that way. End her turn. Okay.
Protect me,
Oh.
please.
This could be rough. You see, the mage cast mirror image. You're dazed, so you don't get a spell. Whoa! You just summoned a Hydra? The hell? What the hell? Alright, you're gonna take a 5-foot step this way, so you're no longer in melee combat.
This should do it. A calculated risk.
Alright, you're dead as hell. Cast summoned a fucking Hydra. What the fuck? This guy's called a Rift Channeler. This is the assassin leader. There's 2 of these three of these Rift Channelers. What the hell? My god. Oh, your turn's done. There's another one. Cast something. Nice, missed me. Alright, Valerie. Wow, you're actually just barely far enough that I can't reach you in one turn, huh? Why don't you go to, like, there? Draw as much hate as possible. You've got big armor and a big freaking shield. Draw as much hate as possible. Right, go ahead and fight defensively while you're at it. Alright, Jethal, this is what we're gonna do. You're gonna cast Divine Favor on yourself. And then you're gonna go to, like, here. To flank this idiot. Bertuccio. He's gonna cast Acid Splash at this guy and miss. Useless. Go up on the stage. Rim. I actually want you to swap out True Strike for Cure Light Wounds and cast it on Lindsay. Nice. Okay. Well, that's good. Miss. Okay, Lindsay. Lindsay. You're gonna take a 5-foot step that way. And unfortunately, all those guys are in melee combat, so you're not gonna do as well against them. So shoot this way. Nicely done. Miss. Hit. Protection from good communal. Yuck. I don't know what you guys are casting. Cannot be good, whatever it is. We're gonna frost here. A miss. And
this will hurt.
Go attack that way. Critical hit. 9 damage. I have no idea what you guys are casting.
Calm down.
Oh, hit me hard. Yeah, miss. Alright. That's not good.
things.
Nice. This way. Okay. Up on the stage there. Yeah. Cast magic missile on this guy. Nice. All right. We're starting to thin them out. A lot of bad guys in this this area. We should have cast Bless. And then move forward over here. Yep, somebody else cast another Hydra in here. Oh, wow. She's incredible. Miss. Critical miss. A natural one. Alright, I think we want to bring down these rift channelers, honestly. We're gonna actually turn on... Inspired Courage. And then turn. Turning that on as a standard action. Whoa! Hit. Cause fear. Wow, and I just turned on an effect that helps defend against fear saves. Good timing. I have no idea what they're doing. Damn, fortunately I have to move forward. Go here.
Let's try this way.
Got him. Next. Oh my god. Summoned in a manticore. My turn again, huh? Nice. He's down. And as my 5-foot step, I'm going to try and move like this way. I want to like disincentivize them shooting at me. Oh, I never turned that on. Whoops. Good shot. Oh, hey. The barbarian's here too somewhere. No damage from the manticore. Yeah, go in on the leader. Wow, critical miss. What a... That's no good.
Despicable.
Miss mirror image. That cleared one of the mirror images. Alright. Have you guys been injured? You have been by one. Get him. Okay. Yeah, I can get close enough to melee you. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to close to melee range with you. But instead of actually hitting you, I'm going to cast Touch of Chaos on you. Which missed the mirror image, but that's actually fine too. Want to clear up as many of those mirror images as possible. Such a badass, look at her go. Oh, Lindsay got hit. She could heal herself if she wanted to. Moreover, I think she's just gonna like... Oh, but the bowman got... the bowman triggered an attack of opportunity while shooting Lindsay and is now dead because Amiri was standing right next to him.
You deserved it.
Oh, 7 damage. A big hit. Cause fear. Will throw failed on Valerie. So she is feared. Valerie is feared. She's gonna run next turn. That's unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. Where are the, like, items that you're carrying here? Drink the potion that you're holding is a move action. Hit him. Still not dead, though. I think he's probably only got 1 health left. There goes the other bowman. Yep, she's just gonna move away, unfortunately. Which I can do about that. Thal, however, is just gonna go in swinging. Hit him, even through his mirror images. Got another mirror image. He's almost out of them. Yeah, you just make an attack roll now.
Repent!
Repent. Oof. Huge. Absolutely huge. And there's the last mirror image gone. Oh, Jesus! Get absolutely freaking destroyed. That's what you get when you cast spells in melee in this game.
This should do it.
Oh, unfortunate miss. What the? Oh, you're still feared. So partway through that action, the fear kicked back in.
Advance!
Got him. Pretty much all academic at this point. Oh. Oh, miss.
A calculated risk. This will hurt.
Got it. Oh. Got a whole bunch of stuff off that. I just looted real quick because I don't know if this is gonna like. Okay. And the Eldori, talk to me. All right, we killed them.
For your valor and bravery. The enemy was strong, but you were stronger, and that means I made the right choice. Just as I thought, there were worthy leaders among you. I'm especially grateful to them for the courage and common sense they showed while defending the mansion. But this attack means we have even less time than I thought. Someone already knows of our plans and is acting against us. You'll begin your expedition immediately.
Who is the one who did this? Who's acting against us? Because if they bring a force like that to meet us on the field when you're not there...
Lady Aldori, please, I know who arranged this attack. The vile king of Pitax, Iroveti. What's more, I know who among us works for him. Hey, you! Show everyone the ring you're wearing. You think I wouldn't recognize Iroveti's seal? That's why he wasn't killed. The bandits recognized him as one of their own by this signet ring.
The ring that you gave me. He's clearly trying to set me up. He gave me this ring.
Yes. Such a gambit would be typical of Iroveti and his henchmen. And yet, it still seems suspicious. There's definitely a spy among us. But who? All I have is one word against another. I'm afraid you're both under suspicion.
They both came to your aid, Lady Jamandi. But a liar's cunning knows no bounds. I've never met these two or their companions. For all I know, they're all conspiring spies.
How could you say that? We fought together. We literally went through fire together. And then you vanished into thin air. After you promised you'd wait.
It's true.
My words might be rash.
I bet my life despise anyone but this man. I saw how he dealt with those creeps with my own eyes. A true warrior. I'd go with him through hell and high water. This purple crook, on the other hand, he's got the eyes of a spy and the mug of a spy.
Lady Aldori, don't listen to this thick-headed barbarian. She doesn't know what she's talking about. During the attack, our leader showed his true colors. He forced us to break into the armory and rob it.
Forgive me my trespasses. We were in the middle of the battle and in dire need of weapons.
Considering the circumstances, that was more than reasonable.
That counts as lawful neutral.
That was a sound decision. Sometimes one must act at one's own risk and peril, until crossing the boundaries of what is allowed. Showing initiative is no crime.
It is insane when faced with death to stop and question whether you may be breaking some law or rule. Even more insane would be to ask forgiveness for making the right decision. Sorry, but your words display a lack of wisdom.
What about that trick he pulled right before we came in here? Some scoundrels set your mansion on fire, and as we were approaching the room, we saw your brave guards, your underlings, dying in the fire, begging to be saved. And what did our leader do? He passed right on by, mercilessly leaving them to their fates. Simply heartless.
I have a neutral good or a neutral evil option here. I'm obviously going to take the neutral good option. I regret that I could not save anyone. Obviously, I would have if I could. I am sad for the perished, but I had to decide between helping them and helping Lady Aldori. Forgive me if you believe I chose wrongly.
Leaving them to die bought you mere minutes. Believe me, I would have held on until your arrival.
May Shellen spare me from ever having to make such a choice, but he behaved decently as a true leader.
A true leader is someone who has their priorities straight, not someone who would put a valuable ally's life in danger for the sake of some servant.
Enough squabbling. I'm still not sure which of you I can trust. However, the risk of entrusting the whole affair to a spy is too great. Here's what we'll do. 2 teams will head out. That way, I'll know at least one group can be counted on to serve my interests in the Stolen Lands.
Lady Aldori, most of those who were to set off for the Stolen Lands have been killed. Those who yet live will require help. Please allow me to join the expedition.
I'm sad to lose such a talented warrior. But you're right, Valerie. They have greater need of you right now. Go, and may Abadar keep you. Which of the 2 teams would you prefer to accompany?
If my leader allows, I would join his team. He seems a worthy commander in my eyes.
Appreciate it.
Commanders, military leaders, all these laws and rules are but dust and vanity. I suppose I will accompany Tartuccio.
Your choice.
Our leader is good in battle, but I don't like all the spiritual agonizing. I prefer those who can act without wasting time helping every little pipsqueak. Those like Tartuccio.
Ugh, Tartuccio's going to take the credit for himself and be done with it. Shellen, spare me from such allies. I'm going with you. You're a hero worthy of my quill.
All right, then.
As for me, I know neither of these 2. At least not well enough. And I have no wish to become an unwitting pawn to an unworthy leader. If Lady Jamandi allows, I'll remain in Restov and help mend the wounds this attack has inflicted. But who knows? The road may bring me to the Stolen Lands, but not yet.
I don't even need to think. I'm coming with this man. As for you, Purple Toad, just wait until we meet along the way. I'll be sure to hang your rotten spy guts from the trees.
Glad to have you.
All right, we have 2 teams. To avoid unnecessary conflict on the road, you'll each take a different route to the Stolen Lands. Tartuccio's team will go through Navakta's crossing. The garrison commandant will provide him all the help he needs. You will take your team to Oleg Leviton's trading post. He's been complaining about the Stag Lord's bandits for a while now. There, you'll be provided with all the necessary travel supplies.
All right, we got camping supplies, rations. We got a scroll of Raids Dead.
I'd like to believe you, but I know all too well how convincing traitors and spies can be. If you're truly innocent, I hope you can forgive me this precaution.
Of course. And once I am in charge of the Stolen Lands, we will be able to continue our diplomacy.
While you're away, Keston will investigate the night's events and learn who in Restov is working for Patox. But you should know that it isn't just Patox we need to worry about. The Royal House of Sertova may also interfere in our plans. I've managed to keep this affair a secret from them so far, but that can't last long. By my estimations, you have no more than 3 months. After that, any feats you accomplish will be pointless. And now, farewell. This battle was but the first ordeal along your path, and you overcame it as true champions of Restov. May the obstacles that follow also fall to your feet. Fear nothing, my friends, and return victorious.
Thank you, my lady. Well, all right then. Setting off on our first big adventure.
Surviving a terrible night, our small team set off to brave our fate. Beware, Stolen Lands. Heroes are on the way.
All right, we're on the world map. The gnome sorcerer Tartuccio on his way as well. Here we go. We are traveling along the way. There is an encounter on the road. Get ready.
You make an epic pose. I need inspiration.
All right. Well, we've had a random encounter with what they're called thylacines. All right. Well, this is not ideal. My main character is fatigued, and we're still injured, by the way. We never actually got a proper, like, rest. I'm gonna close on this one.
Falter.
Let's try this way.
I've got a full action for this, so. Miri!
Tear them apart!
Yep, doesn't get a full. Oh, I didn't notice there was a third one over here. That's bad. That's really bad. Nice miss. That needed to be a miss. As in the Tasmanian tiger. If that's what... I mean, it does look a bit like a Tasmanian tiger, doesn't it?
Any last wishes?
Oh. Exact hit.
Onwards!
Oh, dead. Got the one. Go ahead and move this way. We're gonna take a 5-foot step.
This should do it.
A miss.
Calculated risk.
2 misses in a row. That's bad. You're gonna take an attack of opportunity making this move, but I want to do it.
They go down!
Oh. So many misses. Wow! I am not doing well here.
This is where I step in.
Wow! These rolls are ridiculous.
Stay behind me!
Miss there as well. Miss. And finally a hit. And a hit. All right. Nice. We skinned a couple of them with successful nature checks. See, this is what I was trying to avoid. It managed to let us out onto the world map, even though we overloaded our weight. How much are we overloaded by? A frick ton. You know, it let us onto the world map even though we had overloaded our weight, but once we got out here... I mean, does this, but by putting it in, like, characters' weapon sets... No, does it not? Is there a way to see... stuff off? Yes, there is. And I was trying to get to the first... Because basically, if I'm carrying this much stuff, I would not be allowed to go onto the world map. But the quest required me to go onto it, so the game just did it anyway. But now that I've had this encounter, I can't get back onto the map without dropping stuff. But I was trying to get to the place where you sell stuff. That's exactly where we were going. Yeah, it doesn't benefit to anybody who's wearing armor, which is everybody right now. Yeah, putting things into these equipment slots doesn't actually remove it from the weight. and the shared weight. Yep. Really hoping to avoid this exact situation. So now I've just got to drop like 200 pounds worth of stuff that I'm just never going to get back. Thankfully, there's a lot of stuff that's like very heavy and not really worth it. Mystery surrounds King Struzio Iravetti. Fatigued characters, so let's go ahead and rest on the road. Alright, we have 4 rations we need 4. Oh. That's the wrong button. These are all the things that can be done at camp. She's going to try and hunting. She's going to get a +5 to the roll. We're going to try and do... Yeah, we're going to try and camouflage the camp, which we're not very good at, but we're going to do our best. Then she's going to cook. She's going to try cooking the hearty meal, which gives, if it's successful, then all day the next day we get a +1 bonus on saving throws. And then Valerie's going to try and watch, although she doesn't have any good perception to try that with. What happened if I try and do like... Oh, -16. 3. This one. Let's do something like that to try instead. That's through the night.
I'd give anything for a mug of hot grog. And for 2 mugs? No. After 2 mugs, they'd kick me out of the tavern. How come I never learned how to drink at the academy?
Alright, so hunting was successful. We successfully camouflaged the camp so that we have a low chance of being attacked. Unfortunately, the cooking roll failed, so no good food. And no attacks to the night.